Hello, now that I am going to be releasing the Bradley fist, the BFiST, the M7 conversion, I want to do a real quick instructional video on what you're going to get in the kit and what you need to do to make it work. Real quick, here's the original Tamiya vehicle. I've done some surgery to make the main gun mantlet separate and correct if you haven't followed along before. Anyways, this is what it would normally look like. What you do is, instead of installing this toe pod, everything else is still built the same. You take the Fist B pod right here. There's the part. And it just hooks right, it just fits right in there. That's it, glue it right in there, and it's done. That's it. For the front, this comes not ready to be used as is. You're gonna have to do one of two things. If you want the cover closed, and here I'm gonna pull, this is one that, well, that's actually not it either. So if you want it closed, what you're going to have to do is snip off this back piece right here, this curved arm. Just snip it off with, there we go. Just snip it off with tweezers, clink. And this arm will fit right in that slot. Just put it right in there, and what you'll want to do is line up the hinge, this top piece right here that has the upper hinge. You want to line that up with the ridge that's right here, and if you have it, you'll understand, because you'll have that in there, so that'll limit your ability. And then just glue it on, and it will glue on nicely. No muss. No problem. Like, kind of like so. If you want this open, you will want this arm intact. And what you'll need to do is very carefully go in, and where the hinges are, right here and here, you'll want to cut them off, and then you'll have to glue just the hinge part, this top part, onto this area right here, and then you will glue this face piece. You can put that arm right into the slot, like I was saying before. It'll go in deeper because this will be folded, or, you know, not there. And this just goes right up into it, and then you've got the open flap. I think it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty simple, but any questions, let me know. As far as the lights go, these are the extended rear light, whatever, the light protectors and radio mounts. They were extended so that they could put a radio antenna underneath here and run the wiring and all that. But they are simple replacements. They just go right on the back. That's it. That's all there is to that. These are primed by me, cleaned up and primed already. I'll get to that in a minute. Same with the other one. It just goes right there. They're simple replacements. And then when you have the passenger side or the right side light on, you take the cable reel piece and it goes on right here with the just so you can see it, with the top or upper pair of feet going right on the mounting bolts for this light. So right like that. So it should look very similar to how that is set up right there. This little part here is there to it's not necessarily attached to this toolbox on the back end of the Bradley, but it's there to stabilize this when it's all set up. And this is how it's set up on the real vehicle. I have not seen a cable reel actually inside of here, so I don't know how to put it in. I'm assuming that there's a rod that goes across there, so the reel is in here and it spools out. But that's what's on the vehicle. So what are you actually going to get? So, sorry, I got two sets in there for some reason. You're going to get this plate right here, and all of the supports are on the inside, so you can just take a file and just file it down, and you don't have to worry about anything. This should be flush. But just like that, work your way around. You'll have to be careful on this arm, it's delicate. I would most likely, if there's a lot of larger parts on there from the supports, just go through with the sprue cutter and clean it up. Just be careful you don't cut too much off, or you'll break it, but it should not be anything crazy. Should not be beyond the skills of any average model, or maybe a new time, first time beginner, you want to get some help from somebody, or not be so picky. But there's that. And then what I would do if you're filing is don't go against, go, well, if I was doing this honestly, what I would do, or what I do, is I take a pair of forceps, whatever I've got, and this helps me to stabilize the whole piece. Got that in there, and then, so I'm not bending the actual arm. But it's kind of tedious. And again, if you're going to close this up and not show the optics, if you're going to have this closed, don't even worry about this arm. Just cut it off and be done. Sorry, I keep taking it out of camera angle again. But anyways, I'm just slowly cleaning that up so it looks good. Anyways, that's all. It's not perfect, but just so you can see, just carefully hold the front, because you do have these the detail pieces in the front, and just work your way around. I am trying not to wiggle the camera, but that cleans it up pretty nice. As far as the radio mounts, everything is on the back, so look for any bits and pieces, any leftover support. Go through and file the bottom of the radio mount. There are a few pieces down here on the bottom if you want to worry about those. I'm suggesting that you do the inside of the flap here and here and here, because there are some subtle support attachments, and these are your mating surfaces for the actual kit. I'd go through here just to clean up any, being careful not to take this nub off the bottom. That should be there, and then all you really have to do is the back of this, and it's done. So that should be good, like so. The only other thing I would say, I don't have it here. These radio mounts, I made these radio mounts to be as accurate as they could be, but I did not do them with the bend, only with the straight up. So, but they do come with there will be a little nub on the back side of the top, and they should have the little hole in there for putting I'm going to grab this real quick. Doesn't want to work with me. Here we go. So you can take some, there we go. Take some wire, put a little dab of glue on it, and it'll insert. It's not really deep, but it's enough to give you a positive fit. So that's each one of these lights. That's that. Dealing with the cable reel, you've got most of the points are either on the bottom. There are a couple there. And this is pretty delicate, so you got to be careful when you're doing this. And across the back. So this back strap, which can just be down, and then the back edges here. There's not a lot, but again, I want to stress this is delicate. This will break, and it's hard to see, but it's got a little ridge right there, so you can do this flat, but that wouldn't be accurate. You want to leave that top millimeter in there, so you're only looking at cleaning up this much here and this much here, if even. I mean, really doesn't really show, but you have to sand it. I do not recommend using a knife to break parts off, because they will cause chips instead. But that's all that's at. Now for the actual mount itself, the only places that have the supports are, there's a few in the front, a little bit mostly on the bottom here you can see, and mostly on this back side. And I did that because they're nice big flat surfaces that lend themselves to being sanded down easily. So you can go that way and you can go this way, but you want to keep the square pads and then there is this square plate with 4 bolts, and then there are also 4 bolts underneath here that you have to avoid, but that's it. And then I would just sand this flush, but there are going to be maybe a few little, yeah, that's right. This back edge right here had supports on it. Just clean those off, and this edge right here had supports on it. So that's clear, that's clear. I was trying to keep these supports in the least seeable portion possible. That's why I've got the big hole right here. You don't have to clean any of the supports out from inside there. It should be all invisible. But yeah, then you just go through and again sand. It'll take a little bit of work to sand this off, but when it's done, it'll end up looking like this. Very nice and ready to go. So there's the instructional video on using this set. Hope you enjoy it, and see you next time.